LinkedIn is going to make the big first impressions for a lot of people because they trust. LinkedIn is trusted. So if they go over to LinkedIn and they see an out-of-date profile that's not filled in properly, you're probably not giving a good impression.
It's not going to work.
Yeah. But what I like about LinkedIn is imagine if I met you at a business meeting and I had to sort of tell you everything that I've done through my very long
career.
Yeah, very, very long. Yeah, you've got a shorter one. So you'd be bored silly, wouldn't you? If I go and then I work for this company and then I work for that company and did this and did that, etc. So when you meet people, you don't necessarily need to go that, but it's useful to have that on LinkedIn so people can find out that
if they want to know.
Yeah, so they can find out as much information that they want to know as possible. But so it helps you to get found, and hopefully makes people sort of decide whether they want to work with you based on what you've got on your LinkedIn profile. So it's really, really important to optimize it for all the right things. But I think also it's a big database, and people don't think of LinkedIn as a database, but it's the one social media platform that you actually have to put a hell of a lot of information into, sort of fill in a lot of forms to get started out. I think Facebook, okay, they ask for your birthday, and there might be a few bits and pieces. I think Twitter now asks for your birthday, but it's the email address.
It's email address and fill out a bio. You don't need anything.
Whereas LinkedIn, you have to sort of where places you worked before in the past, and they ask you what school you were at.
It's a lot of data.
There's a lot of data, and the thing is, it's in a very structured way, so you can actually use LinkedIn to find people if you know how to use thinking of that everything's in a nice structured way, so it's easy to be found. Okay, so for finding people, that's really, really useful. Yeah, I was going to say, you want to make sure that you can search for other people and find people, but other people doing that. And
will also search.
A lot of people will only put in the LinkedIn search thing people's names, and that's the only reason that they use the search. Advanced search can help you to find a lot more information.
Like job title, location.
Yeah, you can sort of do it to say, I want somebody who's within 5 miles of this postcode. Or I want somebody who's worked at this company in the past. It's like if you're trying to get into a new company, you might actually have discussions with people who worked for that company in the past.
Previously, to find out what they want.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's lots of things, but on the same way, you can be found for the right reasons, and you can be found by having that information. So making sure that when people are searching, whichever criteria they're searching for, that they will find you. Okay.
So we've had a couple of comments in. Madster says, where can I buy the book from? Did we mention there's a book? Where can they buy the book from, Nikki?
Well, I suppose the obvious place is Amazon. It will be, I'm hoping that will be in bookstores, but it takes a little while for things to get on the systems. So it's online. I know it's on Book Depository. It's on, well, Amazon is probably
the best place to go is Amazon. Type in the title and Nikki's name, and you'll be able to find it. Live Now has got a question, which we'll come to in a second. Andrew Williams says, this is so cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. But Live Now says, what are the rules of engagement on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook? That's the broadest question in the world ever.
Yeah, I was going to say that I as a rule, I say don't do anything online that you wouldn't do offline.
So treat people as if you were meeting them in real life.
Lots of people, they get almost a different personality when they go online.
You're not actually dealing with real people when you go through a computer, are you?
Yeah, so they sort of like almost do spammy things, and okay, there are people, if you go to a networking meeting, who will shove a business card at you.
Yes.
There are people who do that.
Nice to meet you, buy my stuff.
Exactly. So there are people who haven't quite got, sort of like talking and being sociable and getting to know people. But if you consider that those are live people, okay, yes, you get bots and people, that aren't really themselves, but most people are themselves, and you think there's another human being on the end of it. So how would I treat them if I were face to face with them? and then that will give you probably the best way
The guide.
to engaging and talking. With etiquette, sort of connecting etiquette on LinkedIn is a little bit trickier than on Twitter. I was saying, you follow somebody
and you say hello.
And you say hello, and that's how simple it can be on Twitter.
Which is very different, because you can talk to anyone on Twitter, but there's the different part on LinkedIn, the degrees of separation.
Exactly.
Do you know them? Have you met with them? Yeah, and if you put "I do not know them," it won't let you talk to them.
I know. Well, on LinkedIn, I think that with LinkedIn, if you chat to them on Twitter first, it's easier, because then they feel as though they know you, so they'll accept it, or give people a reason why you want to connect. Not, I want to sell my products to you. So,
yes.
So
buy my
connect
stuff.
with me, buy my stuff. Rather, if you sort of say, I've seen something on your profile that looks interesting, and we like to chat, I want to see whether we've got anything that we can, mutually beneficial to both of us. Ask them a question, sort of like about, show that you're interested in them. And that's my tip. Facebook, I know somebody's asked about Facebook as well. Facebook is a little bit trickier, because not everybody wants to use Facebook for business. Okay, so you have to accept that sometimes people just keep it for friends and family, and don't take it personally if they don't want to accept your friend request, or they might have reached their limit.
Yes.
So, 'cause it's quite personal, so it depends on how you use Facebook. So you sort of be conscious of that. Don't send people. I was going to say, I've had some things that have immediately unfriended people. And I've also had on LinkedIn, I've had marriage proposals.
On LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn as well.
From people within England?
No.
I do get some strange messages, mainly from Nigeria, telling me that my family have died.
Yeah,
and that I collect my millions. That happens regularly.
What's this turned into?
Yeah. Some weird stuff goes online. Generally ignore all of that stuff. Yes, and I think the rule of thumb on engagement is treat people as if you were actually seeing them in real life.
Yeah, no, and as human beings, and I think you won't go far wrong with that.
Super. So I think we've been going for about 15 minutes, haven't we now, Henry?
Quite a long one.
So what I think we should do is wrap up. What are the things you really want to leave the audience with, Nikki?
Buy my book.
Other than buy the book. Yes, other than buy the book. I'll do that for you at the end. There is a book, Henry. There's a book.
There's a book.
Converting Conversations to Customers by Nikki Creel. You can find it on Amazon or other well-established retailers.
I think the thing is that be focused about what you want to get out of using social media, because it's so easy to get lost in rabbit warrens and get distracted by kitten videos and things like that. So if you are using social media for business, you actually need to focus in what your objectives are, and sort of like be mindful of your time. So, because if you spend the whole day watching YouTube videos and whatever, Facebook Lives and whatever you're doing online, and you haven't actually connected with people and built up relationships with people who potentially will do business or can introduce you to people, then you're conning yourself if you think you're doing it for business. You're just spending all day on social media, and that's draw the line for it. So be focused on what you want to get out of.
Yes, because it can be a rabbit warren. You can get lost down there in social media world. You need to know what you're going to try and get out of it.
Exactly. It's not just only talking to people who you think will give you business, but actually having real relationships with people, because you never know where things might lead to.
Fantastic. So there's the video with Nikki Creel. If you do want to find her book, Converting Conversations to Customers, you can indeed find it on Amazon, or just Google Nikki's name, Nikki Creel, and her website will come up and you can find her there. We'll be releasing some videos shortly with Nikki's concise top tips on the different parts that we're going to be covering. It's been fun chatting to you all today, and see you soon. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.